Good evening. Welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Echols, and we're having I know it's right up there, but I like to say it anyway, and it's KECHOLS47 at gmail.com. We have
to reach.
so let's go to the phone. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Ken, you're not on.
Well, I
You
bet I
are.
will be. Bet I will be soon, though. Just keep watching.
Okay, I will, and this won't take away from my benefit.
No, no, not at all.
I called you on the backup phone.
All right. Well, then we're both on backup phones then.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
well, uh, well, I just want to say I hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope to speak to you week after next, Mr. Ken, and all that, sir.
Well, I hope that'll happen.
Well, I hope. Well, just say I just hope to see you next week after next, and we'll be on standby to wait till you come back, and everything good. Hope for the best. And to all the viewers, I just want to say y'all have a great weekend. To the how you doing? I'm doing fine. And to Mr. Hillbilly and his family, I hope everybody's doing fine. And to the old veteran and them, and everybody else, I hope they're all doing fine. And to Mark Amayadad, the same thing. Hope he's doing fine and everything.
Okay.
And
Well, we
to Mark Amayadad,
appreciate that. Now, before you go, take a look and see if we're not on in Danville now.
not yet, sir.
Well, it should show up any second. So, what are
Well, I'm
you
on
seeing?
7.
What are you seeing on your screen?
The water park.
The water
There's,
park.
yeah, the
All right. Well, we'll be on momentarily. We're coming. We are.
yeah. Oh, and one more thing is, everybody don't forget the Masked Singer, September 25th at 8 p.m. on your local Fox station.
He won't forget. And thank you for calling.
Bye, sir.
Martinsville, I didn't catch that last thing you said. What was that? Oh, excellent. Charles from Danville, Martinsville reminds me, will soon be able to watch and listen to his entire call when we appear in Danville. We're going to appear in Danville. We know we are. Phone line is open right there. The email address available to you as well. We also have gotten our pick in for Atlanta from Citizen D, who takes 24 for Atlanta. We need a pick for Watkins Glen from Citizen D, and I'll remind you if you missed last night, we're picking Atlanta and Watkins Glen because I'm not going to be able to take any picks next week. So both picks this week. So Citizen D, we have your 24 for Atlanta. We also need your pick for Watkins Glen. Don't have anything yet from Tar Heel in Mayodan, nor do we have anything yet from Captain Midnight and the Lady in Black. So we will anxiously await word from those worthy competitors about the drivers they are taking for Atlanta and for Watkins Glen. In fact, we might have word right now. No, not quite. We do have this. So make an adjustment. This emailer says last night the North Carolina liberal, the name you call him, called chopping up conservative Mr. Trump about the Arlington story. The liberal, as his given name to you, is failed to scorn his pride and joy crooked Biden and pantsuit Harris. Why were they not at Arlington? The parents called these political ingrates, but no reply. Crooked Joe was on his 14-day vacation at our expense, and Camille Harris was in her rent-free, taxpayers-paid house miles away and minutes away. The parents didn't want these two sorry, embarrassing USA political ingrates to attend. They were not missed, and no tears were shed. I've heard several parents whose sons and daughters died due to Biden's incompetence get interviewed. These parents despise and loathe Biden and Harris with gigantic contempt and hate. These parents wanted Trump to attend. They wanted Trump to attend. One parent said, and I quote, "We want a leader to attend." Biden and Harris are no leaders. There was and is no love lost with these two sorry, embarrassing USA political ingrates' absence. There are 26 votes Democratic donkeys will not get. Yet the North Carolina liberal didn't give equal time to what Biden Harris did wrong. What sad lives Trump haters must live watching crooked news to get their high for the day. The parents asked and wanted Trump to take pictures. The caller implied Trump was the voice in taking pictures and failed to cite his own party's faults. Not fair, impartial, and bipartisan. As far as Trump getting sued over using someone's music, big deal. The Convention of Love did the same thing, played songs in background, anything to annoy Trump, the 21st century biblical Job. Today, wannabe president was on TV telling lies about Trump. A news channel fact-checked her. She is economically illiterate, running an Oprah Winfrey election, giving away this and that. What a joke. Okay, thank you, emailer. This one says, Ken, I heard, well, wait, let's see who's on the phone. Hi, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead, please. Hello, caller. Okay, caller. You're on the air, caller. Say something. All right, well, I guess we'll give up on that one. Phone line is there, though, if you want to try it again or somebody else wants to try it, give us a call at that number on your screen or email us at kechols47@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you either way. This email says, hey, Ken, I heard that Cone Health is going to build a big facility in Eden. Do you know where that will be and what it's going to be about? Well, I do know something about that, and we'll get to it in a minute. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing tonight, Ken?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Well, I understand it. I didn't think that Biden or Kamala was even invited to that ceremony.
Well, I don't believe they were.
Well, I don't guess they need to be there then. If they wasn't invited, I mean.
Well, I think the point the emailer was making was that nobody bothered to invite them.
Okay, well, for what that's worth, okay.
Okay.
I see we had another senseless school shooting today. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, in Georgia this time, a 14-year-old is apparently the shooter.
Did you hear what type weapon it was used or not?
I
I
did
haven't.
not. I don't know.
You know. It's just sad, Ken. I mean, you can't go anywhere anymore without somebody that's being mowed down. I just don't understand the way the world is now. But it's what it is.
Uh, well, I'm like you. I don't really know what to say at this point. We have today a 14-year-old, and it's not the first time it's been a student. So again, it's a student, a young teenager doing the killing today. And I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable, man. I mean, I guess the next one will probably be 13, and the next one will be 12. Now it's not a name recognition thing or a political thing. It's just, well, I'll see if I can get my name in the news being younger than the 14-year-old. So I don't understand it, Ken. I just don't understand it. You know, I guess everybody knows too that I don't think that citizens of the United States should be allowed to carry these AR-15s, M16s, AK-47s, and that kind of stuff because a lot of people have got them. I know a lot of people that do have them, and that's their right. I understand that. But I wish and hope to see the day where they are illegal for civilian people to carry them on the streets or just to even own them. I don't see the purpose of it.
Well, one of my neighbors has one, um, and my neighbor is a law-abiding citizen, and my neighbor does not shoot people with it, does not commit crime with it, or do anything bad at all with it. So I mean, I don't object to him having it if he's not going to do damage or harm with it. That's fine. Um, but I don't know why he needs it. He believes he needs it, so I guess that's all that counts.
Yeah, I guess it is, Ken. But you know, a lot of people that owns them, that wants them, or got them, or whatever, have they ever seen what they will do to a human body? Have they ever seen that?
Well, I don't know, but wouldn't you think though that the person who owns the gun, my neighbor being an example of that, doesn't have any concept or intention of shooting a human being with it. Um, so I guess that wouldn't really be a factor to him any more than any other gun. Any gun can kill somebody.
It can. It certainly can. But you're more likely to die with one of those guns, Ken. The injuries that they will do to the human body, I'm telling you, they are very, very dangerous. You know, I just don't think she should be allowed. I think military and police officers, yeah, that's fine. And I know people's going to say, well, the bad guys got them. Why can't I have them? Well, you know, bad guys can get their hands on dynamite if they want it, but you know, the public can't have it.
Well, it's an intractable issue there. Anything that you ban, whether it is an automatic weapon or a stick of dynamite or a bazooka or a line of cocaine,
Right.
anything you ban that law-abiding citizens won't have, people who don't abide by the law probably will have it. Um, I mean, that's just a fact of life.
Yeah. Well, most of the people that I know that have them, I say, why do you want it? And, oh, it's for protection. Well, you know, if just say, for instance, somebody comes in your house at night, a robber or, you know, whomever, the best weapon to have in your house at night if somebody comes in is a shotgun. Because you're not going to mess with a shotgun, you know?
I would think not. Um,
Yep.
but what if, well, now again, if my neighbor was sitting here, here's what he would say. Okay, because I mean, he would say this. I know he would say this because I've heard him say it. Uh, he would say, well, if that person who kicks in my door and comes into my house can get off 10, 12, 14 shots while I get off one or two shots, then I'm probably going to lose that gunfight and be dead. I mean, that's what he would say. That's what he says.
Well, he might be right, but it only takes one shot to take you out. You know.
Well,
You don't.
that's true too.
You don't have to have a barrel, a drum of rounds to take somebody out. You know, I just think it's senseless myself, Ken. And it's just my opinion.
Well, it is something that I mean, it's something that we have to deal with. We have two ways of dealing with it. One way of dealing with it was let's pass a law that nobody can have these guns. The other way of dealing with it is let's just know that people need these to defend themselves who have these guns, and let's hope the person we meet who has a weapon like this will be a good guy and not a bad guy. And that's where we are.
Yeah, I guess it is, Ken. All right, Ken, have a great weekend. Enjoy your time off, and really enjoy your show. And thanks for taking my call.
Well, thank you for calling. It's good to hear from you. The phone line is open. The number is open right now. If you'd like to give us a call or send us an email, we'd love to hear from you on this edition of Star Talk. And the previous email was about Cone Health and the medical facility that Cone Health is planning to build and open in Eden. Uh, they're going to put this thing, and it is correct. They are planning to do this. They're going to put it in what was going to be Lidl is where it's going to be. Dayspring Family Medicine is in there now in part of that building. And then there's something else. I can't remember what else is in there. There's Dayspring and there's something else in there. So Cone Health is going to take over 12,000 square feet of the building that was going to be but is not Lidl. And they're going to offer obviously vastly expanded services in Eden from that building. And I am, even as we speak, trying to find the information on that. And with any luck at all, I will find it in short order. And son of a gun, I think I have found it. 723 South Van Buren Road, the Dayspring Family Medicine Building, which used to be called the Lidl Building, will hold the Sagewell, is what they're going to call it, the Sagewell Health and Fitness Facility. Also, a community pharmacy will be on site. The pharmacy will be located next to the primary care office of Dayspring Family Medicine. Uh, Cone Health says, and this is from a news release by Cone Health, Cone Health is committed to making sure services that we provide complement the existing services that are already there, they say. Cone will offer rehab services, urology, gastroenterology, orthopedics, imaging, and general surgery. Even general surgery will be available in that building. And Cone's news release goes on to say, it's absolutely important. So when we looked at our services that were primary care, including family medicine and internal medicine, we really thought about what the services are that make it easy for a patient not to have to leave the community. So that's the bottom line of it there. Is if you're a Cone Health patient in any of those areas, then and you've been driving to Greensboro for your appointments and your treatments, then the chances are you'll be able to get those treatments, even up to and including general surgery, now in Eden, rather than making the drive to Greensboro. When is it going to be open? That's another question that folks probably have. And I don't see the answer Oh, here it is. Uh, the services will begin to open in early 2025. So 6 or 7 months from now, those services will start to become available from Cone Health in the Lidl building. We don't need to call it the Lidl building anymore. We'll call it the Dayspring building because Dayspring is the largest thing in there right now. So that's good news for Eden and for patients of Cone Health. And again, those services will begin to be available in the early part of 2025. All right. Phone line is open. There's the number there on your screen, and the email address is kechols47@gmail.com. This is Citizen D. For Watkins Glen, since that's a road course and Larson is good on those tracks, I will go with the 5 for Watkins Glen. So Citizen D is taking the 24-5 combo uh, for Atlanta and Watkins Glen. And says the winner of this stage get tickets to the Martinsville race next spring. That, yes, is I think that is the working plan. That if you win this stage, of course, the Martinsville race will be over by the time this is over. The tickets would be for Martinsville next spring. And oh, as Citizen D says, I forgot to tell you all, after about 3 calls and threatening the Rock now paper, Brock now paper, with calling the Attorney General's office, they started sending the paper again. Oh, outstanding. They started sending the paper again and supposedly credited my account for 3 months. I had as much trouble as Briscoe has had with Brightspeed. So, yeah, the Citizen D was having trouble getting his Rockingham Now newspaper. And apparently there's a 3-month gap between deliveries, but good news, the Citizen now now has the paper delivered again and is expecting to get credited. Um, so there. Uh, this emailer says, "You're not on in Danville as I type. You began, then left. Why?" I don't know. I don't know. Just keep watching because we're going to be on. And if we're not on in Danville right now, I hope and expect and sincerely believe that we will be on in Danville just any moment now. Because if something went wrong, and maybe something did, I'm sure that the talented and qualified people are at work as at this very moment, correcting whatever the problem is. So we'll show up in Danville. I know we will. We will show up in Danville. Okay. All right. Martinsville is telling me that Martinsville has flipped every button and switch that is necessary to put us on in Danville. Everyone that is within his reach and under his control is as it should be. So if we're not on in Danville now, it's not his fault. It would be probably something amiss high atop Hollywood Mountain. But anyway, if you're seeing us in Danville, welcome back. And if you're not seeing us in Danville, well, you can't hear what I'm saying anyway. Um, Ken, I have a question about the stock market. Um, the first stock that I ever bought was in Donald Trump's media company. And I bought it when it first became available, and I paid just under $75 a share for it. Today, the stock is worth $16 a share, which is almost $60 a share less than what I paid for it. I have not had any time in the stock market before, so what I don't understand is how do I get my money back? Emailer, the the way you get your money back is if the stock goes back to $75 a share. Um, Failing that, you don't get your money back. Um, so you paid $75. Now it's $16. Um, so hope, and we will all hope along with you that the stock somehow recovers, and the price returns to $75. In fact, we'll hope for $80 and $85, in which case you would all not only get your money back, you would then make money. But unfortunately, unless that happens, your money is not coming back. Um, and there's there isn't any other answer to your question than that. So let's hope that you and other folks who paid $75 and in some cases even more for that stock, I hope and pray that all of you um, will get your money back and more. Phone line is open. The number is on your screen. You can also email us at kechols47@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you either way, either by phone or by email. Um, Ken, are you going to send out the pics for Atlanta and Watkins Glen? I will send them out. We've got everybody now except for except for Captain Midnight and the Lady in Black. We don't have pics from them yet. Apparently, they are reserving their final decisions, and no doubt doing additional research and study into all the pertinent facts and circumstances regarding these two races before they make their picks. Um, and no doubt we'll be hearing from them real soon. Ken, there's a story I read on one of the internet sites. I mean, one of the sites that's about the internet, and it says that people ought to change their Amazon and Facebook passwords right now, uh, because they say there's evidence that Amazon and Facebook passwords have been taken, and somebody might be misusing those accounts. So people ought to change their passwords to those two places right now. Do you know what is going on with that? A little bit. Actually, and I had written that down here somewhere. Uh, Facebook, Amazon, and Gmail. If you use Gmail, if you use Amazon, if you use Facebook, they're recommending that you change those passwords now because all three of those possibly have been compromised in some way. I don't know very much about it beyond that. I just know that warning has been issued. So I'm probably talking to close to all of you, if you're on the internet at all, if you use Gmail or Amazon or Facebook. It is recommended that you change your passwords, not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, but now, because some of those passwords may be out. Uh, Probably more information will be coming out about that in the next day or two, but right now, that's all I know. And you really, uh, in all reason, we really shouldn't wait for an alert or an announcement or a particular demonstrated risk before we change those passwords. You really should be changing passwords on everything on a regular basis. I mean, that's the only way to be totally safe. Well, there is no totally safe on the internet. 100% safety does not exist. So I'm not going to say totally safe, but to be as safe as possible, should change those passwords on a regular basis. And I try to refrain from telling people what they ought to do. Um, but I guess I'm doing that right now. I'm telling you, you ought to change your passwords on a fairly regular basis. Um, and as annoying as it is, and it annoys me, I don't like it, but using two-factor identification probably is a very good idea in this day and time. That's where you go and you enter your password and your information to log into something, and then they send you a code on your phone so that you can enter that code and then uh, establish that it is definitely you and not somebody else who has your information. And even that's not 100%, but it's getting close because it's a dangerous world out there on the internet, and you're putting stuff out there each and every day, and we all do it, putting stuff out there that we don't want crooks to get. So even if we have to inconvenience ourselves, and we're going to have to inconvenience ourselves to try to keep it out of the hands of the crooks and the scoundrels, then we're going to have to do that. Hi, Ken. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. went to court and fought and battled and kicked and scratched and clawed to get his name on the ballot in North Carolina. And what is he doing now? He's going to court and he's battling and he's kicking and scratching and clawing to get his name off the ballot in North Carolina. What's with this guy? I don't know. I mean, what's with what's with politicians to begin with? It is correct. RFK Jr. Went through an intense and arduous legal fight to get his name on the presidential ballot in North Carolina. Now he wants it off. Um, the state had already started printing the ballots. And the way it works in North Carolina is once they start printing ballots, they don't change them. Once the ballots are being printed, whoever's on the ballot stays on the ballot. That's the policy in North Carolina. Mr. Kennedy thinks that's not a good policy. At least it doesn't suit him. He now wants his name off the ballot. The state said, well, no. We've already started printing. We've printed all these ballots, and we're not going to throw them in the garbage and go to the expense of reprinting new ballots. We're not going to do that. Your name will remain. So Mr. Kennedy has gone to court uh, to force the state to reprint the ballots without his name. And there's going to be a hearing in, where's that going to be? In Wake, a judge in Wake County will hear Kennedy's arguments to get off the ballot, and that will be tomorrow. Um, It'll be a quick decision. It's going to have to be a real quick decision, because as mentioned, they're already printing ballots. Unless the judge rules otherwise, the state will begin shipping out ballots on Friday. Um, so I don't know how that's going to turn out. Certainly, he fought hard for his right to be on the ballot. So I guess the question is, once you get yourself on the ballot, do you have an equal right to get yourself off the ballot? I, I don't know. I don't know if the courts have ever dealt with this particular question before, because you don't get a lot of people suing to get their names off the ballot, but we do have one. So this should be a pretty interesting thing to follow. Um, and not surprisingly, the different politicians are on different sides of this. In particular, the Democrats want RFK to stay on the ballot. The Republicans want RFK off the ballot. Um, so a judge will decide. And then, as likely as not, after that judge decides, whichever side doesn't like the outcome may appeal and ask another judge to decide. But it can only go on so long because eventually they're going to have to put the ballots out there and people are going to have to vote. So we'll see how that one turns out. But that is a court action, a political court action that I can't say that I remember ever having seen before. So if you live long enough, you'll see everything. And I guess I've lived long enough now to see everything. Ken, how about that hurricane map? I'm still wondering, is the coast under threat from hurricane in December? I think you mean September. Now, last night, email you were asking about September. I think September is the month that you really mean. Is the court under hurricane threat in, we'll say, September? What about my trip to the beach? The coast, North Carolina coast, is of right now not under hurricane threat. Um, and the NOAA does not see, or at least if they see, they're not telling us about anything in the Atlantic Ocean that they consider might put the North Carolina coast under hurricane threat in the month of September. So that emailer is the latest on that. Ken, I'm just kind of curious about something. Since since you mentioned Facebook and changing passwords and all of that, I notice I don't ever see any of your sites on Facebook or Instagram or any of those places. Are you not a person of social media? A person of social media. I'm not much of a person of social media. Um, I'm not. It never occurred to me that uh, anybody on the internet wants to see a picture of what I'm eating for dinner. I mean, that's fine. Uh, you go out and you get a nice looking latte or whatever it is, and it's got that leaf design on top of it. If you want to take a picture of that and post it on the internet, fine, do it. That's your thing. But I just can't imagine that anybody is sitting out there wondering, gosh, I wonder what Ken Echols is drinking. Let's go online and see if he's put a picture of it on the internet for everybody else to see. No, I haven't. I don't. Um, you know, I don't get all that excited watching my cat jump in and out of a box. I mean, it's fine that cats jump in and out of boxes, and my dog will grab his toy and run around with it, and that's good. It's a good thing for a dog to do. But I just don't believe that many people want to see my dog running around with his toy or my cat jumping in and out of the Purina cat chow box that his dinners come in. So that's why I'm not all that much on social media, and I'm not criticizing. Even sometimes I even go. I will watch a cat video now and then. Um, posting any. Ken, can you tell me how come Carolina wants to tear down the Dean E. Smith Center and build a new basketball building? Ain't the Smith Center good enough for them? Oh, apparently not. Um, I mean, it looks like a very fine basketball building to me. But it is, and this kind of surprises me when I think about this. It is, about 40 years old now. And he has in mind is, I don't think it is that they don't like the Smith Center. They don't like it enough. They like it, but they don't love it. I, and the reason they don't love it is when the Smith Center was built, it was built probably just before uh, it started that every new building had to have a lot of luxury boxes and things in there that they could sell to DuPont and Google for 90 or $100,000 a year. Smith Center doesn't have that. All it has pretty much is 21,000 seats for people to sit in. It doesn't have luxury boxes and like special mezzanines with living rooms and handball courts and all that other stuff that wealthy corporations and wealthy individuals like to have when they go to a basketball game. Bottom line is they're not collecting as much money through the Smith Center as they would like to collect. So that's why the University of North Carolina wants to build a new basketball building. They want to build a new basketball building that has probably a few fewer seats, maybe 15, 16,000 seats instead of 20 or 21,000 seats, but also has these suites and luxury boxes and things that generate big revenue. Um, so, in other words, money. Money is the reason. That shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. So, what are they going to do? I read that they're considering I think they have six different plans in play for replacing the Smith Center. Some of those plans would include, at least one of them, I think, would include renovating the Smith Center, but I think that's probably the least likely thing that they're going to do. Uh, so they've identified, I don't know, 4 or 5 different sites, some on campus, some off campus, where they might build a new building. And of course, they've hired a consultant. The first thing you do, and whatever you're trying to do these days, the first thing you do is hire a consultant. So they've paid a consultant, I believe, $200,000 to tell them some good places to build a new basketball arena. And that's where that is. That hasn't gone any farther than that. But it looks like more or less a sure thing that they are going to replace the Smith Center in the next few years. So then what do they do with the Smith Center, I wonder? Um, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they'll put pickleball courts in the Smith Center. Uh, well, Ken, I think that's a stupid idea, says this mailer. Um, well, we do have stupid ideas in our society. Ken, I think that's a stupid idea. It's a very nice building. Uh, they've had good success there. This is the Smith Center reference, of course. It's a very nice building. They've had good success there. It's easy for the students to get to, and now they even let students come in and sit right close to the court, which they didn't do for a long time. I think they ought to just stay in the Smith Center. Okay. Um, I'm sure I'm sure they will strongly consider your opinion before they make a final decision on what they're going to do. And one way, if you really want to, if you really want them to stay in the Smith Center, probably the thing you could do to give you the best chance of affecting the outcome of that process would be to donate, say, $20 million to the athletic department at the University of North Carolina. So I'm going to give you $20 million. Stay in the Smith Center, uh, and you'll get some consideration for that. I promise you. All right, here we go. Okay, Ken, you can now complete your list of picks for Atlanta and Watkins Glen. Let me get back to the other page of the great book. The great book. Um, Captain Midnight and the Lady in Black have selected number 8 for Atlanta. We believe that Mr. Number 8 has been knocking on the door, and this is the week the door opens and he falls through. Falls through? Okay. Uh, so they take number 8 for Atlanta. For Watkins Glen, we're going to take that SVG guy, and we cannot think of his number. All right, I'll just write SVG because embarrassingly, I can't think of his number either, but I'll look it up. So Captain Midnight and the Lady in Black have the number 8 for Atlanta and SVG for Watkins Glen. So oh no, that's not everybody yet. We still have not heard from Tar Heel in Mayodan. Tar Heel in Mayodan. Tar Heel in Mayodan. We need your picks for Atlanta and for Watkins Glen. He usually picks by email, so chances are his selections will be along in email very soon now. I hope so. We'd hate for him to miss out this week. Ken, I heard the emailer before asking how he will get his money back from the Donald Trump media stock. And he said it's the first time that he has bought any stock. Uh, and it's too late to advise him about this. But, folks, if you don't understand how the stock market works, have someone explain it to you before you put money into stock, because you can do very well in the stock market. You can also do very, very badly in the stock market. So please, please do some research, see exactly what you're risking and how to minimize your risk before you make your first attempt to buy stock. This is serious business, people. It's a complicated thing. Don't do it if you don't understand what you're doing. Okay, emailer, thank you. That's good advice. Ken, speaking of ballots, which they might have to reprint, um, how do you get an absentee ballot in North Carolina if you want one? You have to fill out, go to the State Board of Elections website. If you're on the internet, go to the State Board of Elections website and just look for a link there that says absentee ballot, and click that link, and they'll give you all the information, uh, and they'll tell you what you need to do and what you need to provide in order to get an absentee ballot. It's not that hard a thing to do. Um, it's good to do it earlier rather than later, because the law has changed. And it used to be that if an absentee mail in ballot arrived um, no later than 3 days after Election Day, it would be counted. That's not the case now. It has to now arrive um, by 7:30 p.m. on Election Day to count. So those of you who are voting absentee ballots, I hope you're aware of that. Well, we'll get aware of it right now, because you have to do that. You have to give yourself plenty of time uh, to vote your ballot and get it back in by Election Day. And then the other part of this email is who is eligible to get an absentee ballot in North Carolina, and what reasons can you give for it. You don't have to give any reason in North Carolina. Everyone is eligible to get an absentee ballot. Um, so get it. I mean, there's no requirement as far as a reason to get it. Certainly, there are some requirements now in order to get it, but the requirements do not include having to give a reason why you cannot get to the polls on Election Day. The main thing to remember is there is no longer any 3-day grace period. So if you're going to vote that way, make sure you vote that way soon enough, so you can be confident that it'll get to the Board of Elections in Raleigh, um, or wherever you're sending it, by 7:30 on Election Day. Ken, how come United States Steel wants to sell to Japan, and how come Biden will not allow it? Well, United States Steel says that it wants the cash influx that it would get, and it would be a big cash influx from allowing itself to be acquired by, I think it's Nippon Steel of Japan wants to buy U.S. Steel. And U.S. Steel says it would be a great thing for the company because with the bigger, vaster supply of cash they would have if they were owned by Nippon Steel, they would be able to upgrade their plants, and they would be able to build new plants and do a lot of things that they cannot afford to do, or at least they're not going to do, not going to spend the money to do right now. So for U.S. Steel, it's all about getting more cash in the cash box, and in their words, I mean, I can't speak for them. I'll just tell you what they say. In their words, expand and promote and grow the company much more than they are currently able to do. So why is Biden saying he will not allow U.S. steel to be sold to Japan? Steel is one of those things that's considered a strategic product, a strategic commodity in our country. And the government has certain standards and guidelines about something like a steel company being sold to a foreign interest. Um, and the general guideline is if the sale of this thing, and in this case, the thing is United States Steel, would in some way degrade uh, the nation's ability to provide itself with, say, weapons, uh, uh, vital and necessary things like steel, not only for weapons, but for buildings, for infrastructure, for bridges and highways and automobiles and septic tanks, and all the important things that we make of steel. The guideline is that we don't allow a foreign company to own that if the thing is of vital strategic interest to the United States. There's this thing in the government, a committee, I can't remember the exact name of the committee, but there's a committee that's supposed to consider these things and then make a recommendation to the president as to whether or not to allow it. I don't know if the committee has made a recommendation to President Biden yet, but he didn't wait for the committee. He went ahead and announced that he's going to block this. He does not think it's in the interest of the United States for U.S. steel to be bought by a foreign company. Even in this case, um, a country that's one of our allies in Japan. So that is why U.S. Steel wants to sell itself to the Japanese company. Um, and that is why President Biden says that he will not allow it. Could this sort of thing go to court? Yeah, this sort of thing could go to court. I don't know if it will go to court or not, but it certainly could. And U.S. Steel may decide that they want to get a judge involved uh, to see whether or not this ought to be allowed to go ahead. So stay tuned on that one. That's all the time we have for Star Talk tonight. I will, as mentioned, I won't be here next week, which is why we've been getting picks for the next two races. I will be back um, based on my current plans 1 week from Monday, which would be September 16th. I hope you'll join us then. Thanks for watching. I'm Ken Echols.